GT the Vibe Podcast going to another episode. I appreciate you guys rocking with us. As always, please make sure you like, subscribe, share, so we can get this thing out to people. Today, we're going to talk about toxic relationships. We're going to talk about what it looks like, some issues that you see, and then we're going to go biblical too, because the Bible says stay away from toxic, angry, wrathful people. Um, Envious is a word that I like to use oftentimes when I speak on this subject. And I think that people believe that the Bible just wants you to just stay in the relationship or to just be with that person. But the Bible has some other words that it has to say about this. But first, we're gonna identify toxic relationships, some signs that you see in a toxic relationship. A lot of times people get into these conversations and they want to use big clinical words like narcissist or borderline personality disorder or bipolar, sociopath, psychopath. But I think that people can be toxic without even having these disorders. That you don't, I don't think that you necessarily have to be um, identified as a narcissist or identified as A, B, C, D, or whatever disorder that they may have out there. I don't think so. I think that you can just naturally just be a toxic individual, or you can have two individuals that, because of how they are toxic together, right? Apart, they're not toxic, but together, toxicity just reigns. So I think that there's a whole lot of variables that people don't take into account when they're speaking about relationships. Um, what I will say is that, um, God doesn't want you in a relationship. I wouldn't want your relationship. I hope that you would want to be in a relationship where it kills your mental health, where you're just like chaos, right? God is not a God of chaos. So if your relationship is ordained by Him, your relationship is not going to have a whole bunch of chaos, right? Now, do you have issues or you have problems that you have to overcome? There's a difference between issues and problems that you have to overcome and pure chaos. People get the two things mixed up oftentimes because they get in the mindset of everything is chaos. If it doesn't go my way, it's chaos. Not necessarily in essence. More chaos is self-created. Whereas issues are things that you feel. So you may feel, say you are like, say you don't want your woman to go out dressed a certain way and you bring it up to her, right? That's not chaos. That is an issue that you have that you bring it to the table to have a conversation about. Now, chaos is more along the lines of um, you say you guys are doing good and everything's going smooth, and you pick a fight just to have a fight, right? You bring up that old thing again that you said you let go, just so you can feel some semblance of love. Now, people that grow up in chaotic households, that's the way that they thrive. They thrive on pure chaos. How you have to be chaotic for them to feel love, for them to feel important. Um, Also, shame based. A lot of the disorders that we speak of when you talk about narcissistic personality disorder, you talk about borderline personality disorder, are shame based disorder. A person that holds a lot of shame develops a defense towards shame, the things that they're shameful about. And that's when it becomes toxic because as opposed to dealing with the things the shame, you defend yourself against any kind of anything that touches the shame. So if you're ashamed about being, let's pick one to talk about that's shameful. If you're shameful about how you perceive yourself, so say you perceive that you're not good enough, so you have a lot of shame built up over the years because you don't feel like you're good enough. So what you do is you defend against things. So if you do something wrong in a relationship, your partner points it out, as opposed to as opposed to keeping the problem separate from the person, you take it personal. So now you can't even now your partner can't talk to you about issues because everything that's talked about you taking it personal. And you're taking it personal because you are ashamed. You're ashamed of things in your past or ashamed of stuff that's current, that has gone on, that has put you in a position where shamefulness, right, is the all the is the your autopilot. You're set on autopilot in a relationship where everything is shame based. Typically, people that hold a lot of shame in their life, they typically um, will self sabotage or sabotage a relationship, right? And it's not because they don't love the person. It's not because they don't care about the person. It's because they haven't dealt with the issues of shame that is in their life. And so without dealing with those issues, it's hard, right? It's hard for you to be able to overcome certain things. And so shame is an issue that people deal with. And shame biblically, I can do a whole conversation about shame from the Bible. Um, and how shame can cause envy because you're shameful of how you are perceived by others. Your partner may be perceived better. That people may flock to your partner, they may love your partner, right? Because you're ashamed of how you're viewed, you become envious of your partner because of how they're viewed. So shame to me creates a whole lot of other emotions. And so if you have a partner that has a lot of shame, you'll notice them do certain things, right? The number one, so I'm gonna go through a list of things that you'll see in a toxic relationship. Number one, your partner may, because of insecurities, they may seek validation from everybody else, right? So what happens in these scenarios is they are a different person outside the relationship than they are inside the relationship. So other people get a different view of your partner, right? And usually it's a better view of your partner. Usually the way your partner is outside is better than they are inside because they're trying to make people think that they're a certain way, right? They're trying to make people think that they're a certain way, or they look a certain way, or they act a certain way, or they believe a certain way. Whereas when they come home, and people that do this, they'll use excuses for why they do this. At the end of the day, the only reason why they do this is because they don't know how to validate themselves. That's at the root of the issue. There's so much shame, so much envy inside of them that they can't validate themselves, so they have to get validation outside, right? And these type of people will not prioritize the relationship. You could be married to this person, you can be in a relationship with this person, you have kids with this person. This type of person will never prioritize the relationship. The relationship will always be on the back burner and it will always be pushed down. They'll put everything else over the top because at the end of the day, for them, having a relationship is all about what it looks like and not about actually having a relationship. So you get people that look for that validation outside, and you'll see two different people. Like you won't even know the person that you're with, right? When men do it, they're typically more um, grandiose with it, or they're more likely to be just super outgoing outside. I love everybody, but then they get home, they don't want to talk to their significant other, right? Um, they may be more rigid at home than they are outside the house. Um, Rigidity is huge. Um, they will have a lot of friends, but they won't be your friend, um, which is huge. I mean, granted, now I'm not saying every situation like this. Sometimes you get into issues in a relationship where you get so many problems built up that you guys just don't communicate. That's different. This is a person that comes in like this, a person that continues like this throughout the duration of the relationship. It's consistent over time. It's not something that happened because a lot of stuff happened in the relationship. It's something that's who they are. Women, females, when females do this, they typically don't do the personality change. For them, it's more a look change. Like they will look like a 10 outside the home 24/7, right? They will be nicer, right? More polite, right? And then they'll say that they're faking that. Um, Typically, women will say that they're faking that, whereas a man he will not say he's faking that. Like if you're a man and you're two different people, you gonna acknowledge that yes, I am. That but yes, 100% I am. But that's the validation seeking, right? Women do it more through looks and politeness. Men do it more through personality. Like like the personality that they push up on people is different than the personality that they have inside the home. You'll notice that. So if you ever notice that with your partner, understand it's probably shame based. There's probably some shame in their past that they have not gotten over that has caused them to be this way. And so you got to understand how to approach that. And we'll talk about the approach later. But you have to understand that it's shame based, 100%. Insecure people do this. If they're super insecure, that's what they do. Your attention will not matter to them as much as they may say. Because at the end of the day, what we know as human beings is that if your attention, if my so say I'm with somebody and my attention matters to them, then they're going to want it, right? They're going to do whatever they can to get it. Most of the time, these people will not do anything to get your attention. They'll just be around. It'll be a body in a relationship. That's it. They'll do everything to get everybody else's attention. Typically, that's what you get. They'll do everything to get everybody else's attention, but not yours. But they'll tell you that they want your attention, but then they won't. Their actions won't match up with their words. Uh, which brings me to point number two. And I'm only go through 2 points this time, and we're gonna keep pushing them out. Point number two. Um, Actions don't line up. They will tell you certain things. They will tell you that they love you. They will say that they're gonna change for you. Like if somebody tells you that they're gonna change for you, they're probably not gonna change. Um, because change requires action, not words, right? Is there an acknowledgement that probably should happen? Sometimes, but usually the acknowledgement is in actions. Like you'll see them changing. You can feel it, you can see it, you'll know it as their partner. So if your significant other says all the time, "Oh, I'm going to change, I'm going to change," they're going to keep saying that for years. They're never going to change because what they're going to do is give you the breadcrumb, the piece of bread they throw on the floor and say, "Okay, I'm just going to say I'm going to change because I know that's what you want and it's going to keep you here." But what you'll realize is once you leave the relationship, if it gets to that point, I'm not telling you guys to leave your relationships. I'm saying if it gets to that point because it's so toxic that you have to leave the relationship, then what you're going to realize, what you're going to have to understand is that then you'll see a change. They'll change, but they just won't change for you. Well, you have to understand it. You're not important enough for them to change for you. And if that's the case, then that's the case. It is what it is. You got to do what you have to do with that information. Um, and I think that as men and women, we get so entangled and we don't want to be alone. But sometimes being alone is the best because healing happens when you're on your own. I know people say, "Oh, you heard Tyree say, oh, you." Some people aren't meant to be alone, yada yada yada. Here's the deal, man. He got into another relationship, right, during his healing phase, and he still hasn't healed. He's proof he still has not healed. He's still talking about his ex. He's still got problems and issues. He's still going through. He hadn't healed. So you prove that you probably needed to spend some time by yourself in order for you to change, in order for you to heal, in order for you to make the moves that you need to make, that you need to make. Because essentially, when you get another relationship, you're just putting a band-aid on an open wound that probably needs stitches. So I am an advocate for spend some time on your own, um, spend some time with friends. I'm a Christian, so you got to spend some time in the Word, spend some time in the Bible. Real quick before we get out of here on this episode, um, the Bible says avoid toxic people. Proverbs 13:20. Proverbs is the wisdom of life. I love Proverbs. Wisdom of life. Make no friendship with a man given to anger. So if there's an individual that is angry, consistently angry about everything, the world's against them, their life sucks, there's nothing good going on in their life, avoid these people because those are toxic people. Nor go with a wrathful person, a wrathful man, somebody that holds the grudge, somebody that doesn't forgive. That's an unforgiving person. Lest you learn his ways and entangle yourself in a snare. So what you can tell a lot about a person by the company they keep, right? If they are of good company, right? Good people are of good company. I select my friends wisely. I have great friends. I got great male friends, great female friends from all walks of life. I have great friends. I have friends that aren't Christian. I got friends that are Christian. I got friends that are Catholic. I got friends that are LGBTQ style. I got friends from all, and you know what? I accept them for who they are. We can have the conversation we need to have. If they get an issue, we can talk. But my friends got my back. I know that 100%. I don't have to question that, right? So put yourself around people that aren't toxic. Spend your days and your time and your hours and your short life with people that aren't toxic. If a person is toxic, don't waste your time on a toxic person. That's what I'm saying. Don't spend your time on a toxic person because a toxic person won't change. They will always be the same, right? Toxic people, toxic individuals, toxic relationships. There's a lot of evil that churns in these relationships. I gave you guys the 2 pointers. Next episode, I'm gonna give you guys more rundown. We're gonna keep talking about this. This may take me a couple weeks, couple months to get this all out, but we're gonna do it. All right, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna stay positive while we go through this, guys. I appreciate you guys rocking Miss GT the Vibe Podcast. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.